Maliko run with the boys and girl. Allison's driving for us. New faces, new boards. Andy's well sunscreened up, which is the main thing. Got the 1160 on, so at 20 knots. The guys just told me there's a great white out there at the moment. It's being tracked. There's a couple of them. His nickname is Meg or something from California. And he likes the colour red. So I don't know.
Oh no.
What I do.
Sounds a tall tale to me.
Oh, 1160, 70, 45. Cut down 76 mast. PVC paddle. Mosaic. Close. Got a row gain for the pubes. No gain without row gain. Yeah, it gets pretty deep. I mean, it's kind of better than the rocks, but you know. What is it? So is this a race or what? Team.
Welcome back. Another beautiful blue sky day in Maui. I definitely feel like Maui can spoil. It's pretty amazing, and I can't imagine what it's going to be like when I have to leave.
Good crew on this run. So Matt, Henry, Andy.
Double Matt on this run, and neither of them are school teacher Matt.
Everyone else seems to be on the 110 Florence foil.
That is one of Andy's go-tos, and Henry was also using it, I believe. I'm assuming it's a much smaller foil than the 1160 that I'm on, which is around 1,000 centimeters square.
Not a race, but feels a bit racy. See what we can do. 1160 versus the 110 Florence. Oh, Andy's out.
I was warned that I might not leave Maui if I went there. Unfortunately, my visa does not allow me to live in Maui, otherwise it could be a real consideration. And I haven't even experienced their summer conditions yet. Right now I'm recording this as I'm driving to the bottom of a run, so bear with me, if you will. And if you're not will, please still bear with me.
Definitely taking some racing lines here, people. Got some juice flowing.
Oh yeah, so this is run 2 for the day. This is my first double Maliko.
Let's show these lift boys what the Axis boys can do. Unless I lose, then I'm deleting this footage.
Damn right. So yeah, I'm probably erring on going forward rather than back. So sometimes you just come to an impasse, like a high point or just an energy impasse that to go through it will require energy, your own energy. And at that point, you kind of get given a decision, and often fading off is the most economical route. Typically there's likely a bump just behind that you can tap into, or to the side. But if you're racing, you know, you might consider pushing through it, because you might have enough momentum to get halfway. You know, you might not have enough momentum to get completely over the crest in front. But if you are halfway, it could be semi-tempting. To just push through. And if you're fit and young and training, then maybe that's just your go-to move. I see a lot of more inexperienced guys doing a similar thing. And I think it is fear of slowing down. And so...
Not full race, don't get the legs, but it's all about going forwards.
Yeah, some guys will chase the bump in front. Better the devil you see.
We're going over rather than turning off anyway, let's just say that.
But of course, nothing should really be avoided, because you want to experience everything. Like, you need to experience maybe what a bad move is so that you can learn from it. And maybe there's something you think is a bad move and you attempt it and it works out. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And so exploring new options can be advantageous, but also just fun and exciting.
In my defense, this is my second run today, to put that out there.
Of course, that gets easier. Maybe not more experienced you are, but definitely the more experienced. But if paddling up's not an issue, and ultimately you want to make paddling up a non-issue, then you can just test.
I'm already running out of legs. We'll get some crews going. Let's try to force our competitors to make some mistakes.
Yeah, I am not a beefcake by any means. Athletically, personally, I always had some power and some strength and stamina, but also my body's always been quite janky. I'm sort of tall. I was always tall and skinny. My joints weren't so good. But often been a quick learner of things as well. So I was often decent at things on my first attempts and would learn quite quick. But I never truly mastered anything to world-class level, basically. I guess I was never brought up like that, and never had the focus. I would have had the focus. That's another part of me, is I do focus in. Like a lot of us, I'm pretty addicted to foiling. But I would... Actually, maybe my ego would get in the way a lot of the time. So I have a personal ego that doesn't really confront anyone. I'm a very soft person by nature. But inside of me, there is,
We're definitely overall slower. I'd need the 1070 and then I'd definitely be keeping up.
Inside of me, there's definitely a monster.
Mind you,
That...
I wasn't the first up either. We'll see how we go.
Understands the rules and understands performance and what it takes to be good. I've got a good scope for that sort of thing. And if I can see somebody that's well ahead, and I know that I'm not gonna, and I can see that it will require too much of me to
be the fact that the others aren't racing at all.
To become excellent, then I probably lose some passion.
That is a distinct possibility.
Because another part of my growing up was, if you're not first, you're last, essentially. So if you can't be number one, why bother? So but that's just a small part of it all. And so I didn't race a lot of the time in actual races or anything, or compete, because if I wasn't going to be the best, that would be a loss. Rather than just accepting and testing my own performance and enjoying that marker, I would just see that I wasn't first or wasn't in the best group. So that held me back from a lot of things. That's changed a bit as I've gotten older. Maybe because I have the excuse of being a bit older now. Maybe that's coming, I don't know if I'm wiser or just I've been given some new tools to deal with it. Either way, same result, but I'm happy to race and just put that marker in the sand of where am I, what's my performance level right now, and then did I do my best on the day?
We're just going to use, we're not using endurance anymore. The odd pub maybe.
So not did I do my best as in trying, but was I successful in achieving my best on the day, or did I fumble something? But even if I fumble something, that I can look at my results, potential results, as being best case scenario, and I can see them, if I get them, as actuality. And if I fumble a couple of times, and I might come away thinking, I didn't get to show my best. But that is a hypothetical, and my best was actually what I did on that day. Because had I done my best, my fictitious best, I probably, didn't fumble the paddle up, or I wouldn't have fallen off. But that would have happened if possible. So, mind you, there is acts of God and there is seaweed in a lot of oceans. And just yesterday I was brought down by some seaweed that I didn't see. So, yeah, I guess everything's full spectrum. You just got to take everything with a grain of salt. But right now I'm happy to race and see where I come. I've put enough time and effort into downwinding now that I want all aspects of it. So where do I come compared to the experienced guys my age, the experienced guys younger? What about the less experienced younger guys? Can I get to the finish line before somebody else? Why is that the case? Why are those guys beating me? And it's stuff I can learn, stuff I can see firsthand. And there's a sense of, there's a reality to racing that can tell a story. And that can be it's no longer really subjective, it's kind of objective, because that's where you came to that result. And yeah, maybe you got lucky, you got a good bump when nobody else did to start. So maybe that doesn't tell the full story, but it's closer to the fact than if you were just doing, some fun runs with mates or without mates, solo runs. And you chose the wrong gear and it didn't work, and you had a bit of a crapper. Well, you don't have to tell anyone that, and that gets swept under the rug. And maybe you do that 5 times, and then you have one decent run, like that. And then everyone gets to see your decent run or something. So that the racing is the true reality of the moment, and it's seen. So I like that. I like that there's a clarity to that.
Got carried away there. That's my racing days over.
So I remember that fall. I was trying to pump whilst cresting a bump, or just pump throughout a motion, and caused a breach.
Get the practice from paddle up. Cool.
And then, of course, glass half full. I get to
You hear that, Ted?
paddle up again. I've actually become a little bit unfit because of my successful paddling, or riding, more like. You know, I can often do a paddle up at the start of a run, and I can completely drain myself on a paddle up.
I think we're in the complete wrong spot.
And then it takes me a couple of minutes to recover trying to recover whilst foiling. But then I typically don't fall off.
Well, Andy had a fall, Matt had a fall on this one. Only fear that I take a spill. This breach doing baby pumps. Thinking I was doing really well.
And so I don't
Maybe I was.
test the energy system very often on a run. And of course that's great. But not good for fitness. So coming up to the M2O, I'm actually going to be doing some training, paddle up training, and really working that energy system that is required to paddle up sometimes when it doesn't go well, to increase my paddle up battery. What was I talking about? I was talking about the racing, performance. I fell off. Oh yeah, so I've still got a lot to learn.
Pick you up a bit, sorry.
When it comes to taking the faster lines. Often when I'm downwinding, I'm
Let's get back to surfing.
just doing a bit of a free surf basically, and just
Hiding somewhat.
mostly being efficient, not pumping too often, unless I,
Fun, they call it.
you know, not pumping actively to speed up. But that's left me without a lot of racecraft, and I've done a couple of runs since this where I have actively tried to go fast, and I have learned a bit, which is quite interesting. And it's not all pumping over, but it is just taking efficient lines that take you towards your target. So yeah, heaps to learn for me, which is kind of exciting. But my problem is my janky body, and my knees just do not like aggressive energy usage. So I did a slightly longer run yesterday, 32 kilometers, which is half the M2O, maybe 3/4 of the M2M distance.
Sorry.
And got a feel for that. So that's my longest run so far, 32 kilometers. And that was cool. Fell off twice, once for seaweed and one breach. And got to feel what my body felt like. I was learning to adjust my feet to take stress off of my levers. Worked on using my heel as a brace point against my board so that I could relax some muscles, and just kept my forefoot in the active range, but my heel as it just being able to hold the foil pressure in check, as well as just changing stance a bit.
A lot of work right now.
And you learn from that. My father would say necessity is the mother of invention, or father of invention. And you learn because sometimes you're now facing stresses that you hadn't had before, and so you come up with solutions, and all that's all learning. But like I said, I don't really have that paddle up fitness. And one way I did find that worked that system a bit was just subfoiling in the waves. And
would be interesting to be on the 1070 right now.
yes, it's less energy. It's give or take. It's a bit of work. It's still a bit of an anaerobic loading to catch a wave, especially if you're catching them deep.
That second one gives me some faith that it's actually much easier out here than it is at the start of the run. Like good size down without fear of too much underfoilement for the pedal up.
So I'm talking too much. You're probably missing what I'm saying in the water, but. So yeah, subfoiling in the waves is really testing my fitness, getting my heart rate high, and if it doesn't get that high from the pedal up, then I'm pumping around to get the heart rate high. And then coming down and just trying to relax and let my system regulate, and then doing it again and again. And just teaching my body that it needs to adapt to that high output. And I just want that bigger fuel tank. So when it comes to these longer races, I'm not really worried about riding fitness. I think my riding fitness is already there. But if I have a couple of falls and I need to pedal up, I want a reliable energy system that's going to help me do that.
I have no idea where the other guys are.
The other guys ended up going quite far right.
And I know they'll be in front of me, so it's kind of odd that I can't see them.
So yeah, currently training's going well. I strained my back a little bit by doing some different stimulus. I did like a 3-hour paddle. Just trying to build some different muscles and whatnot. And that put a new workload on my body. My body wasn't used to, and then the next day I did another new stimulus. I went paralleling in very light wind for 3 hours. And then following that, those two new activities, I did a downwinder and just had put too much load over those 3 days through my lower back, and just one of my muscles sort of gave up. Everything is fine though. I just needed 48 hours rest and some dry needling to reset the muscles. And that's kind of a free lesson. Yes, I had to take 2 days off, but I probably needed that anyway for the rest of my body. I'm prone to not resting enough. And quickly on that note, it's because I can rest. I can easily become a couch potato, and I feel like I need to go, or else if I rest, I'm just going to rest. So that's a part of my sort of addictive nature, as I try to master whatever I do and take it to the end. But yeah, a bit of a light lesson, that one, but it taught me to just carry on with what I'm doing and be a bit more sensible with my training. And the famous climber, Wolfgang Gulich, who did the world's first 8C and 9A, I believe, maybe even 8C plus. He said that getting strong is easy, getting strong without getting injured is hard, and he's quite right. It's easy just to throw yourself at the wall and rationalizing it by thinking, well, I'm working as hard as I can, but working as hard as you can is not accurate, because working hard is working smart, and being smart takes energy as well and has its own system to deal with. And I bet a lot of people are in this category of, I tried my best, I worked hard every day. But that's not working smart, and you need time for recovery. And working smart is working hard. So I see that a lot around the world. It could be anything. A lot of people do it with work and whatnot. Everything that they go into, and they just go full tilt. And that's a cop-out saying, well, I did my best. And I don't think working hard is your best. I think working smart is your best. And that's going to be the difference between a proper pro and an amateur in some circumstances. You might think you might think you're trying hard all the time, and so a pro must be working even harder all the time. But I've been around old climbing pros, which is a bit more established than subfoil downwinding, and they are incredibly smart and use all the tactics in the book. And yes, some of them are prone to pushing too much too often because they just love the sport, and I can see that a crossover there. That is why you work hard, because you love it, and that's your excuse for not having success, is that, well, I tried my hardest. So yeah, sorry, going on there, but there's something to be learned there. So anyway, I had my little back strain, and then I recalled that just going hard every day is not going to be my smartest tactic. And so now I'm being more sensible, because I jumped into paddling for 3 hours, I jumped into a new sport for 3 hours. I was doing stationary bike, which wasn't that easy on my knees. Probably overstretching. It's just like, race is coming, I've got 7 or 8 weeks, let's push. And I got hurt straight away. So now I am swimming. Well, first of all, my goal now is just to raise my general fitness somewhat and build my power stamina for paddle ups. And that's it. Because I'm generally kind of fit enough already. I could probably do the races tomorrow. They'll use everything I have, but I can probably get them done with my current fitness, unless I have to do a lot of paddle ups. So my new training is to increase my paddle up stamina, learn some better technique, so efficiencies, and then just build my overall fitness somewhat, and in the safest way possible. And currently that's with swimming. So I'm just swimming laps, freestyle. Just building and stretching and sauna. And I think that's enough. just being gentle and just trying to get the biggest gains for the smallest, with the smallest risk. And that's probably actually the formula required, is how do you get the biggest gains with the least risk and the smallest amount of effort. And going back to climbing, some guys have amazing finger strength, but don't have so much technical skill or, say, flexibility. But they just love going to the gym and trying to build on that finger strength. But the thing is, they're already so strong in that area that any extra stimulus really isn't bringing gains. The gains there are really hard fought and minimal. Still important, but you're going maximal effort for minimal gain there. Whereas if they had a problem with mobility, they could probably just start easy light stretching as a routine, and they'll get huge gains for just a small amount of effort. And so the crossover with foiling there would be, you could be super fit and used to thugging your way around, but perhaps you're not as technical because you've got your strength to build on. And going out and working even harder with your fitness and pumping and whatnot.
Only run this one.
Well, yes, you'll have some minimal gains for maximal effort there, but maybe if you just used a little bit of time on technique.
No idea where the other guys got to. I get to know, I don't know, are we in there?
You can get the bigger gains with the smaller amount of effort. So just maybe you can look at your own riding, using that formula, and maybe there's some areas that you can get massive improvements with it, with not as much effort as you might think. So maybe you're learning downwinding, and you can paddle up fine, you've got all the energy in the world, but once you get up, you're struggling a bit. Well, maybe you don't need to go out with the paddle because you've already got that skill. Maybe you should go out with a wing and just concentrate on the riding aspect of it. That's not my suggestion, but just an idea first idea that popped into my head. Maybe your knowledge base isn't that strong. Maybe you're out there doing it all the time, but you're not really concentrating on what other people are doing. So maybe you can do some research online. You're probably already watching videos, and I assume you are if you're watching this. And just heard what I said, but also maybe read some articles. And try new gear. That's really important. Hit up your friend and say, do you want to swap gear for the day? And yes, you might have a terrible session, but the same thing, like, that's one session and you might learn something.
Would have slowed up again. I know where we are.
Just do the little things that you can get big gains from. But yeah, I've been concentrating on the road more than watching this video, so you're just getting my thoughts. So what else? See, I'm doing stretching in the sauna. I find the sauna is a good excuse to get a stretching routine done. And often the sauna can be a bit intense and boring, and adding stretching to it actually adds to the intensity, but it removes the boring factor.
Okay.
So I'm just stretching out my main muscle groups.
A lot of glare in my eyes right now, so I sort of lost lost my thoughts again.
I find that my thighs, my quadriceps get quite tight.
Started off as the race. I was keeping up, but I was having to pump. And then I fell off. It's going to be fun for me to see that again.
I just did. Kind of.
Easy pedal up in the middle, that was good to learn. My size down next time. I mean, I was kind of, look, these guys probably weren't racing at all. I mean, it's always a little bit of a race when you get a bunch of guys downwinding. Shane taught me that. And then you make the races official when the competition's not there. Respect it. Okay, simple. But I was just thinking if I had the smaller front foil, 1070, one size down, is 860 squares instead of 970.
It's 877 square.
But anyway, great result.
Versus 997.
Great result. Everyone played well. Really proud of the team. You know, you've got to respect anyone who's out here doing this, just because it's such a road to learning it. You know what that person's gone through, like you've got history, it's like you shared the ring together. Forms a certain amount of camaraderie. Share how to do it with more people. More comrades. But anyway, yeah, great run. Great game. Not going to win this one. We're all winners in the long run.
Bit of a sports interview satire there. I watch a bit of stand-up comedy and do try to be funny sometimes. So yes, my quads are often quite
I can't see anything. Looking straight into the sun.
tight.
Salt in my eyeball.
Stretch my calves. Do some self-massage on my lower legs around the ankles.
With Alison waiting for us at the end.
I find foiling taxes that real lower part of the calf,
Sparkling
front
water.
and back, all the way around.
We drink a lot of sparkling water.
I've often got fatigue there, inflammation, and muscle growth. What is it? Cankles. I'm building up some cankles, calf ankles. I find the foiling, controlling the board in foil, utilize that part of my body. I do back and hamstrings, neck, work on just mobility. So just the basics. But I was just thinking, the easiest way to pick something to work on is like, what is your biggest weakness? And often that's where you will get the gains. If you just target something that's your biggest weakness.
We can see the gate, final gate. Last call.
Because that's what you want, right? You want to bring up all these low attributes that you have. If you can look at your skill set on paper, you see the little, like a computer game, like maybe you've got power, technique, but not time, free time, or whatever it could be. And those little bars, attributes that are low, how do you build those up? Because often that's, okay, building up, gaining free time is potentially not easy, and maybe even impossible for us, for some people. But maybe it's mobility, knowledge, technique, strength, endurance, equipment, Maybe it's the paddle side of the technique. Maybe it's the,
Too far away. It's distracting me.
you know, I bet a big one is for people is the on water sup foiling technique. So when you're not on foil yet, go do a run. If that's the case, if you're afraid of being on your sup rather than foil in the water, and you're always in a rush to get on foil because for whatever reason, go do a run where you float downwind and paddle downwind, get comfortable, use your techniques, learn some techniques to handle your equipment, and do some paddle ups and just remove that fear of being on the water with that board. Like I've done that a bit. At first I was always in a panic to get off of my board and onto foil, because my big goal was to foil and I only want to be on foil. And I actually had to go through a learning process there of getting comfortable with my board and not have it be a stress point. So that, you know, something like that. There's lots of little things. So just have a look at what you're doing. Maybe ask a friend. Make sure they are a friend and make sure they're not too hard on you. What they think you could improve on. Because often, you know, you might have your own blind spots. But don't risk, I guess if it's a real friendship, you're not going to risk it with a simple question. But careful. Careful going down that route.
For doing too much pressure, my nose tilt came from rear foot lift, and it wasn't cutting it.
Be wary if they've already, no, don't be wary. Be accepting if they've already got a long list of your deficiencies. Hopefully they're foil related. But this is good timing because I'm coming to the end of this run and I'm also coming to the end of my drive. So a bit of a different one here. Sorry, I wasn't really focused on the video, but hopefully there's some information there. You're not sick of my voice just yet. Upcoming videos, I might skip some of the timeline here and go to some of the more exciting videos. Somebody was requesting the marina video, and the marina video being the big swell video. So I'll grab that soon. And work on getting that one up. And then I might just start getting a bit more selective with what I upload. Currently I'm just uploading each run in the timeline. This is Maliko 12 or 13, whatever it is. So I've got plenty of footage to work through. So yeah, look forward to that. Get in touch in the comments. I like seeing your comments and hearing from you guys. What's new? I'm spending time doing my downwinding and making these videos, and I've probably fallen behind in some aspects of knowledge, like are there any new brands? What's the next hottest thing? What's a brand? What's something I can have a look at? I see somebody just did an hour flat water pumping on the 1350 firewall, which just seems insane. I know the record is those Indiana foils, which I did look at one stage. I was curious to actually get one because I feel like because somebody was able to pump that for, I can't even remember how long it was. How long was it? 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever in flat water? 4 hours. The equipment is not going to be the issue there. So I thought if I could buy an Indiana foil that somebody did a 3-hour pump foil session on in the flat water, then there's a way that I can probably manipulate that foil to simulate that. And I believe the guy that got that record was a speed skater or speed skater, and an top tier athlete, which I am not. So I'm not likely to be able to get the same numbers, but I can feel what that equipment feels like that sort of achievement can be achieved on. So again, trying new gear. We just don't have anywhere to get Indiana, New Zealand, it seems like. Seeing a lot of the usual brands, being in Maui with doing downers, all the crew. Lift is quite popular. The 110 seems to be a nice go-to for people. They consider the 130 their light wind foil, which is to me crazy because I think the 130 is still quite a big, small foil.
Hopefully they follow me in.
The new, what's the brand that has the momentum foil? It's like a 16 aspect. Momentum. Can't remember. Seen a few of those. The guys seem to love that. They seem to love how efficient those foils are. But yeah, go exploring. Good luck. If you see me in person, say hello. And be good. Don't forget to hydrate, do your stretches, work on those weaknesses. Stay cool. And hopefully you get lucky with life. See ya.
What's that? It's so much fun.
How far did you go?
I came from Maliko.
Maliko? Holy moly. And how long did that take?
I think it takes about 45 minutes for me.
And what, are you just pumping it the whole way?
I'm pumping it on the inside, the outside I'm surfing the whole way. I'm just surfing the wind chop.
Really?
Yeah.
How much is one of those?
It's super expensive if you try and buy the newest. Might get a board for $600 and a foil for $600.
The board's that and the foil's that part,
Separate,
yeah?
yeah.
Right.
It takes so long to learn the downwinding part of it.
Yeah.
It's like 2 years, almost full-time journey for me.
So what do you start in Maliko and you work your way here?
Yeah, I just paddle out, paddle up to get on foil, and then I literally just carve turns the whole way.
Wow.
I've got videos that I put online, downwind drifter.
Downwind drifter, I'll look it up.
Look it up, and you'll see all the runs I've just done today.
I've been watching guys take off on some waves on those things. I was like, man, this is like so much fun.
So sketchy sometimes.
Right? How's it feel? Is it the same way to control it as a surfboard?
Similar, you've got another axis, you've got the pitch, so you've got height. So it becomes very three-dimensional.
Wow.
But surf, like I was a surfer, and I tried this, and I was like, this is more surfing than surfing.
Right.
So this is like surfing with a scalpel. It's so in tune, it's so right on the energy.
Right.
Whereas the surfboard, by contrast, just feels very thuggish. It's like there's so much energy pushing you. Whereas this, you're tapping into the smallest amount of energy and it's giving you so much power. It's just,
Wow.
like, it's sick, dude. It's like,
I've been thinking about getting one. I just
get one. Yeah. This guy, I think, works for one of the companies.
Oh yeah?
He just came down with me from Maliko. But yeah, you can see them for sale. They go out of Kaha.
Yeah, Kanaha.
No, not Kaha. The lower one.
Oh, Cut Point. Yeah.
Cut Point. And yeah, like ask around there, dude, and you'll get people are stoked to talk about it. Like, we're all foil brand. Like,
Right.
Everyone's sick of hearing it, but if we get somebody new asking questions, we're like,
Yeah. All right, dude. Have a good day. Nice
Have a
to meet you,
good
man.
Sunday. So we gave the pros a run for their money. Oh shit! Look at that line.
I looked up and I was like,
Yeah, I think I saw these guys way right.
they were out too.
Yeah. I came right in. Like, because I was trying to race you guys at the start. I was like, I had to pump to keep up. You guys are kind of carving a bit. You were working a little bit. So I was like,
Yeah,
The whole time?
I just felt like there wasn't much energy, and I don't know. Henry's on the same size foil as
Yeah,
me.
the
and,
110.
Yeah, like weighs 20 or 30 pounds more, so he was maybe like once he was up, was getting more out of it.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, yeah, I was like having to pump to keep up with him, and then I just made a weird mistake. Kind of like went down. I thought I was gonna fall, but stayed up. And
Yeah, I did fall. I had one fall.
yeah, Henry went down too.
Yeah, and then you caught up. Oh, yeah, I saw you fall at the start, and I pumped over to you. I was like, oh yeah, we'll ride together now. And
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
like straight off from it.
Once I got back up there, then I like found better.
Yeah.
It was.
I thought we were friends, and then we started racing. I thought, well, we gave you the handicap there. But once I came off, I couldn't see anyone again. I didn't see one person.
Yeah. I didn't see
Yeah.
them for a long time. I was just trying to get into some bigger bumps.
Yeah, I didn't really need them. I was having a blast. This thing's so sick. It's like 1,000 centimeters.
Yeah.
How much do you weigh? How much do I weigh? Pounds. 85, 86 kilos.
Yeah, I think I'm like 145.
Yeah, I'm probably like
65
170 or 180 now. American cheetah.
Cheetos, Butterfingers.
Yep, Cheetos. I didn't have a Butterfinger today. 3 hours for 2 runs.
It's pretty efficient.
Not bad.
Well, you got here and you were able to just throw your shit right in
Yeah.
the truck and off we went.
Yeah.
There was no shaft, there was no
So we were debating
relax.
how many runs you could do in a day, like in summer, full out.
Yeah, so there you go, 3 for 2. 6.
That's what I thought, 6 plus, but then when we packed that, it was maybe only like 5. What's it, you've done a lot of runs in a day before, right? What's the most you ever
like
did?
6 a.m.
3? Okay.
because of the wind.
Maybe
How many do you think is possible?
5, 6. If you have dedicated rides and
Right,
you're
right,
like,
yeah.
you don't have to break down and you just jump in the truck and
Off
someone
you go.
brings you back to the top and you jump back in and you have snacks ready and like enough water and you could probably do 5 or 6. If it's like the day of days and the wind's blowing at 9 a.m.
Right.
Which happens in the summer, but like usually, you know, we're waiting until 12 or 1 and then you
Yeah.
can get 2 in
You have
for
to go
sure.
like 9 till 6.
You want to go like 9 till like 5:30, yeah, and you can probably jam like 5 or 6 in, but I'm usually good with 2.
I like how 9 is like the crack of dawn to everybody here.
Oh, not for me. I get up at 5:30.
Right?
Kids.